Yo, what's up? Dr. Swole here, MD, pro physique athlete. Today I'm going to be sharing a full 4-day hypertrophy program based on the upper-lower split. This is going to be a low-volume program set for beginners. The upper-lower split is a versatile split that I really like, and it works well for 4 days per week. And I actually think a 4-day upper-lower is one of the best setups that a beginner can start off with. This video is sponsored by Liftosaur, which is a free training app that allows you to track your progress and run custom programs from your phone. You will be able to run this program on the app, more on this later. Typically, the upper-lower split divides your body up into an upper body day and a lower body day. You will see that this is a modified version of that split, where I make a couple of small changes to address some weaknesses to the traditional upper-lower. We'll start off with a program walkthrough where I'll share everything you'll need to know to run the program yourself, including exercises, sets, and reps. After that, we'll talk about the weekly setup, or how to spread out the workouts across the week. And finally, we'll talk about the pros and cons of this 4-day upper-lower hypertrophy program. All right, let's do our program walkthrough. So this is Dr. Swole's 4-day upper-lower program. It's a low-volume program designed for beginner athletes trying to build muscle. And this is the Liftosaur version. We have upper body day 1, lower body day 1, upper body day 2, and lower body day 2. Here are the exercises, and there are the sets and reps. Down here we have the total number of sets for each workout, so you have an ideal workout length. And down here we have the total number of sets for each muscle group each week. And you'll see that this is a low volume program. Let's get started here. We kick it off with dumbbell bench press for the chest on upper body day 1. 4 sets, and we're using a top set back off method here. So this is my notation for this. You'll work up to 1 top heavy set of 5 to 8 reps, then you'll drop about 10% in weight and then do 3 more sets of 5 to 8 reps. The top set back off method is a nice way to combine some heavier and lighter work by getting some specificity with that heavy set, but still getting more volume with slightly lighter weights. I think a system like this does work really well for beginner athletes because it's intuitive to follow and it allows you to progress quickly if you're able to. Next, we have single arm dumbbell rows for the back, 3 sets of 6 to 10. Machine flies for the chest, 3 sets of 10 to 15. Note that you can superset your dumbbell bench press and single arm dumbbell rows on the bench. Then reverse lat pull downs for the back, 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. Cable press downs for the triceps, 3 sets of 10 to 15. Then we have upright rows with a barbell for the side delts, but also the traps, 2 sets of 6 to 10. And dumbbell lateral raises for the side delts, 2 sets of 8 to 12. You'll see that I tend to focus a little bit more on free weight work for beginners. Of course, you'll have to make sure you're using good technique, but I do like the fact that it involves a bit more stabilization, and thus it produces a little bit more overall stimulus. Then we have lower body day 1. We start off with squats for the quads, 4 sets, and we're also using a top set back off method here. 1 top heavy set of 5 to 8 reps, followed by 3 back off sets of 5 to 8 reps. Then we have Romanian deadlifts for the glutes and hamstrings, 2 sets of 6 to 10. And you'll see that we don't have as many sets of RDLs here, and this is because they are a very damaging exercise. Since they load your hamstrings heavily in that stretched position, you'll find that you get quite sore after these, so you don't need a lot of volume to get a good stimulus. Then we have lunges for the glutes and hamstrings, but also for the quads, 3 sets of 8 to 12. You can do these carrying dumbbells, and the 8 to 12 reps is on each leg. Then we have leg extensions for the quads, 2 sets of 10 to 15. You'll see that in a beginner program, I tend to favor your big, heavy compound movements over your more machine type isolation work. And you'll see that reflected here since we have 4 sets of quads and only 2 sets of leg extensions. This is because as a beginner, you will get the most bang for your buck trying to progress in your big, heavy compounds. I am including some machine work here to round out your stimulus, but I think it pays to focus more on the squat here. Then we have hammer curls for the biceps, 2 sets of 8 to 12. Cable curls, also for the biceps, 2 sets of 6 to 10. And you can superset your cable curls with cable lateral raises for the side delts, 2 sets of 8 to 12. Then we have single leg calf raises for the calves, 3 sets of 8 to 12. And you can do these carrying a dumbbell for resistance. Here you can see the modifications that I've made to the upper-lower split. I've taken biceps off of upper body day and moved it onto lower body day. And I've ended up swapping some of our side delt work off of upper body day onto lower body day. This achieves a couple of powerful benefits that we'll talk about in the pros and cons. Next, we have upper body day 2. We start off with overhead press, 3 sets, and we're working up to 1 top heavy set of 5 to 8 reps, followed by 2 back off sets of 5 to 8 reps. You'll see that each of my workouts is focused around a main bench, squat, overhead press, and deadlift type movement. So this will be nice for people with strength goals. Then we have weighted chin-ups for the back, 3 sets, and we're also using a top set back off method here. 1 top set of 6 to 10 reps, followed by 2 back off sets of 6 to 10 reps. Obviously, if you're just starting, you may not be able to perform a chin up yet, and if you're not able to, you can assist yourself using bands, but I do want you to really push these in getting strong and really move towards progressive overload and doing them weighted as soon as possible. Then we have close grip bench press for the triceps, but also the chest. One top heavy set of 6 to 10 reps, followed by 2 back off sets of 6 to 10 reps. After that, chest supported rows for the back, 3 sets of 8 to 12. Dumbbell skull crushers for the triceps, 3 sets of 8 to 12. And then upright rows again for the side delts, 2 sets of 8 to 12. Finally, we have some dumbbell lateral raises for the side delts, 2 sets of 12 to 20. And you'll see that when I repeat exercises in the week, I mix up the rep ranges. This gives you some strategic variation in your programming. Then we have lower body day 2. We start off with deadlifts for the glutes and hamstrings, 3 sets, and we're also using a top set back off method here, 1 top heavy set of 5 to 8 reps, followed by 2 back off sets of 5 to 8 reps. Then we have Smith machine squats for the quads, 3 sets of 8 to 12. Following that, leg presses for the quads, 3 sets of 8 to 12. And while you're on the leg press machine, you can superset with calf raises, 3 sets of 10 to 15. I really like this kind of superset. Then we have leg curls for the hamstrings, 2 sets of 10 to 15. And again, you'll see that I'm favoring my hip hinge movement for the glutes and hamstrings over this isolation movement. Then we have lying bicep curls for the biceps, 2 sets of 6 to 10. And these are like an incline curl, except you set the bench all the way horizontal. After that, easy bar preacher curls for the biceps, 2 sets of 10 to 15. And finally, cable lateral raises for the side delts, 2 sets of 10 to 15. Okay, now that you've seen the program, let's talk about the weekly layout. So we have upper body day 1, then rest day, lower body day 1, rest, upper 2, lower 2, and rest. When you set up an upper lower split for 4 days a week, you want to spread out your days as much as possible across the week to maximize fatigue distribution. That is, you want to spread out the stress across the week as much as possible, and you can see this as making the most use out of your rest days. So this is why I've split up this upper and lower body day here, rather than going upper lower and then upper lower again later in the week. Now, I do get commonly asked if it's okay to put the 2 days back to back twice in the week, and it is fine, particularly at the beginner level. Fatigue distribution isn't the most important thing, but as you become more advanced, you will want to start thinking about spreading out fatigue as much as possible. And this highlights one of the powerful advantages of the upper lower split in that it's so flexible. If you look here, we can move this lower body day over here, we can move this upper body day over here, and we can take this lower body day, move it on to the next week into this day here. Now, when you have 2 days back to back, I do prefer having the upper body day coming before the lower body day, because a tough lower body day could impact your upper body training coming afterwards, but not so much the other way around. This particularly happens when you have heavy axial loaded movements like squats and deadlifts on your lower body days. Since you've seen the modification I've made of splitting up our side delt work across all days. And yes, this is okay because the side delts recover very quickly, and you'll find that your performance isn't really impacted by this. Notice that the other modification I made by moving biceps off of upper body day allows you to train your biceps when they're fresh, but also increases the frequency of bicep training to 4 times per week. If you look at it, biceps are trained indirectly on your upper body days with your back pulling work. And then you train them directly with bicep training on lower body days. Now, as a nuanced point, when you have back and bicep training coming back to back, you want the back training to come the day before the bicep training and not the other way around. This is because if you have sore biceps going into your back training, this could potentially impact your performance, but not so much the other way around. Okay, now let's talk about the pros and cons of this 4-day beginner upper lower program. Starting off with the pros, this program is very flexible, and that's one consequence of the upper lower split that I really like. The upper lower split can work for 4, 5, or 6 days per week, but when you program it for 4 days per week, it's particularly flexible since you have enough room in the week to move workouts around. My current training split is a modified upper lower for 4 days per week, and this is the main reason. Since I work these unpredictable 24-hour shifts as a doctor, I need to be able to shift my workouts around the week on the fly and not have my performance impacted. And this leads us into the next advantage of the split, in that there's no interference between days. Since you have an upper body day, then a lower body day, you're not gonna have issues putting those days back to back, and you can move those workouts around the week without problems. Now, ideally, you do wanna have at least 2 days in between repeating the same type of workout. So I would try to avoid having situations where you have an upper body day, then lower body day, then upper body day back to back. This is just so you maintain your performance across workouts, but other than that, it's really flexible. Next advantage of this program is it's very easy to program in strength work. You'll see that this program is designed in a way that you can put in some beginner strength programming in a plug and play fashion. And I think this is very useful for beginners because strength training and hypertrophy training do go parallel at the beginning when you start out. That is, you can build both strength and hypertrophy at the same time. I think this is valuable for beginners because when you build strength, it improves your ability to create mechanical tension, which is the main driver of hypertrophy. The other advantage of this program is that it has good fatigue distribution. That is, your training stress is spread pretty evenly across workouts. Your leg workouts are still a bit tougher than your upper body workouts, but this is better than say like a push-pull leg split where you just have 2 leg days out of 6 days out of the week, or worst of all, a bro split where you just have 1 big leg day and 1 arm day, for example. Okay, now let's talk about disadvantages, and there's really only one main one here, in that triceps are training after your chest on upper body days. This brings me in to talk about the cons of the traditional upper-lower split. If you were to have pure upper body and then pure lower body day workouts, you'll have your arm training coming after your main heavy pushing and pulling work. This is a disadvantage because your biceps and triceps are used indirectly in your chest and back training, so they will be fatigued to some extent and you won't perform as well on your direct bicep and tricep work. What I did here was I moved bicep training off of upper body days onto lower body days. This allows you to train your biceps when they're fresh and not fatigued after back training. It also indirectly increases the frequency of your bicep training, which I like because it allows you to get more productive volume across all sessions. When you're able to hit that direct work fresh, you're not as fatigued and you'll be able to lift more weight for more reps, which allows you to accumulate more volume if you look at things from the perspective of sets times reps times the weight lifted. The other disadvantage of the inherent upper-lower split is that it tends to favor the legs, in that since you have more muscles to train in your upper body, you end up having long upper body days and it's hard to fit in enough volume for your upper body. By moving our bicep work and some of our side delt work off of upper body days onto lower body days, we're able to even out the workout, so we're able to give equal priority to our upper and lower body. This disadvantage was something that discouraged me from trying the upper-lower split for a long time as a beginner, but once I figured out how to modify the split to even things out, you realize you're able to get around a lot of problems. Now I will be sharing the full program as an Excel file in my Facebook group. You can find my Facebook group and join it using the link in the description below. As promised, you will be able to run this program on Liftosaur. Liftosaur is a free training app that will allow you to track your progress while you're in the gym on your phone. And the advantage of this app is that it allows you to customize programs. You'll have the ability to add in your own progressive overload schemes, predefined sets, as well as a rest timer. It's really important to be able to customize your program as you go. As you've heard me say before, a cookie cutter program run out of the box almost is never ideal for you. So I really like the idea of an app that allows you to make the changes necessary for optimal programming. Check out the app, it's free to use. You can find a link in the description below. I find that it has a nice simple design, so it's easy to get started with. If you want to see another example of a beginner program for 4 days per week, check out this video where I share a program based on the Dr. Swole split. This is a split that I came up with that hybridizes push-pull and the Arnold split into a 4-day setup. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I am the king of free hypertrophy programming on YouTube, and we'll see you next time.